Daniel LaRusso went on to lead a fairly successful life after winning the All-Valley Karate Tournament in 1984. In contrast, Johnny Lawrence, his opponent, had a world-ending event and never really recovered until he fell in love with karate again. Cobra Kai and the Karate Kid have both demonstrated how the way of the fist may alter your life, for better or bad. After returning to Cobra Kai, starting Eagle Fang, and eventually accepting Miyagi-Do, Johnny's journey has been a lengthy one. Is Johnny still battling the evil inside of him, or is he finally able to get over those old demons? Many people will have these questions before Cobra Kai Season 6 Part 3. The last season of a show like Cobra Kai raises some questions about whether the plot will conclude satisfactorily. After all, this series features a wide range of characters, from the younger generation of students, such as Miguel Diaz played by Xolo Maridueña, to more established actors such as Martin Coe's John Kreese. In addition to providing a satisfying conclusion for both Karate Kid veterans and their successors, the third and final segment of Season 6 must also wrap up unresolved issues from the season's earlier moments. Is it another crane kick to the face, or does Cobra Kai stick the landing? The most iconic chapter in the Karate Kid franchise's history came to an end with the Cobra Kai Season 6 finale. The competition was unexpectedly extended, just as it appeared like Miguel versus Axel would be the last round in Cobra Kai's Shikai Taikai tournament. It was disclosed just minutes before the last broadcast that Miguel's late return resulted in a draw between the Iron Dragons and Cobra Kai. A final fight between the senseis of the opposing dojos was therefore required as a tiebreaker. This prepared the audience for a training montage reminiscent of Rocky, which was followed by a furious altercation between Sensei Wolf and Johnny Lawrence. In typical Karate Kid form, Johnny surmounted the odds with some much-needed guidance from Daniel. He, like the majority of Cobra Kai's characters, had a happy ending. Chosen Taguchi and Sensei Kim were among the fan favorites that Cobra Kai charted hopeful routes for, even though that wasn't the case for the rest of the primary group. One of the most important scenes in Cobra Kai's six-season run began the show's finale. Terry Silver gave Dennis the order to take action against Johnny's family because he didn't want to let his team's win depend on chance. It would have been the worst thing the villain in the Karate Kid Part 3 could have done if he had been successful in planning a kidnapping. However, Terry Silver was stopped by Cobra Kai before he could get that far. Kreese reportedly had a sneaking suspicion that Silver would do this. Both of Silver's henchmen from the third film are now dead after Kreese killed Dennis in a startling off-screen development. The unexpected but exciting grudge duel between Terry Silver and Martin Coe's character was made possible by Kreese's involvement. Like in the fight between Terry Silver and Kreese in Cobra Kai Season 6 Part 2, Silver had the physical advantage and would have prevailed, but Kreese gained control of the situation. Both Karate Kid villains were killed simultaneously when a cigar butt was thrown upon gasoline that had spilled, causing the boat to burst into flames. The timing was unexpected, even though there has long been conjecture that one or both characters would not live through the show's conclusion. Johnny and Kreese had a heart-to-heart, but they never said farewell in person, and Johnny was never made aware of Kreese's sacrifice. That being said, the character's ending made sense because it's what may be considered a warrior's death, and someone like Kreese would probably prefer it than any other. He did, after all, die defending the one he loved the most. The fight between Kreese and Silver made it possible for Johnny and Wolf to compete fairly. However, it was clear from the beginning that Wolf had the advantage, even though there was little fear that Silver would read the results. In their last battle, Cobra Kai had already done a lot to show that Wolf was her toughest opponent, and Johnny was obviously outmatched. He was younger, stronger, healthier, and probably more experienced. In addition, he had the title of Shikai Taikai. Before the fight, Johnny allowed Wolf to get on his nerves, which caused him to lose focus and allow Wolf to score 2 points in a row. However, Johnny was able to counter Wolf's strikes by fusing Daniel's emphasis on balance with his own fighting style and expertise, all thanks to some coaching and a last-minute motivational speech from Daniel. Johnny's choice to make amends for his error against Daniel in the Karate Kid was what ultimately sealed his triumph. Johnny let Wolf to approach him, countered a move, and delivered the decisive strike instead of charging in to score the tie-breaking point. In the end, Johnny overcomes Wolf by defying his own strike-first philosophy. Following his victory over Wolf, Daniel worked out a deal with the mall's owner, Zarkarian, so Johnny was able to reclaim his former Cobra Kai dojo. As the final shots demonstrated, Johnny will now return to instructing teenagers in the way of the fist, much like he did in the first 2 seasons, but with a modern perspective on Cobra Kai's 3 tenets. Daniel will continue to operate his Miyagi-Do dojo in addition to Cobra Kai being operational again. Daniel realized that being a sensei is a part of who he is after speaking with Amanda. However, instead of having entirely separate dojos, the two have forged a special connection that bears some resemblance to their partnership in Seasons 4 and 5. Both have their own dojos, but in order to guarantee that their pupils receive the right instruction in both offensive and defensive combat, they share and essentially loan students to each other. Furthermore, Cobra Kai was able to comfort Daniel regarding his unresolved worries about Mr. Miyagi's background. Daniel's mother, who was also personally acquainted with Mr. Miyagi, told Sam about a necklace she had previously gotten from Mr. Miyagi. The jewelry turned out to be the cause of the violent robbery and assault that Mr. Miyagi was accused of committing in 1947. Daniel's mother clarified that Mr. Miyagi was attempting to recover the necklace, which had previously belonged to his mother and then his wife. One of the guards took it from his wife while she was detained in a Japanese detention camp. After hearing the story, Daniel realizes that his mentor was free of any guilt because the thief was the one Mr. Miyagi beat up in 1947. Even though Johnny and Daniel's dojos won't have their graduation class, it doesn't imply that none of them have given up karate. In particular, it will become a source of income for Robbie and Tori, who have both agreed to work for a branding firm that would compensate them for holding protests while they travel the globe. The others are concentrating on their individual studies. Sam is enrolled in a one-year educational program in Okinawa. Dimitri has given up on entering MIT in order to join Hawk at Caltech, and Miguel will fulfill his dream of attending Stanford University. The younger pupils, like Devin, Kenny, and Anthony, will continue to train under Johnny and Daniel while participating in competitions like the All Valley. The series ending reveals that Devin is Cobra Kai, while Anthony trains mostly under Daniel. Johnny and Daniel discuss switching dojos for the upcoming All Valley in the post-credits sequence of Cobra Kai. It appears that Devin and Anthony, together with Kenny, are currently the two dojo's strongest combatants.